Today, Wednesday, October 24th. I call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda, review the vote for the minutes. To approve the minutes of August 15th. No, is that
Is
correct?
it August?
No,
No,
no.
September 19th. It's on the agenda, it says
Yeah,
September 19th.
19th.
Jennifer, right, Jennifer?
Yeah.
September 19th.
Okay, so
Okay, you can have this one, I'll give you another one if you want.
Sorry.
Oh, you got it? Okay. Jeff?
Any questions on the minutes?
No questions at all.
Yep.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Bills, communications, and the warrant.
You have an approval in a second. For the, this. Did somebody do it? Is someone second? Yeah, no, we need a vote to approve it in a second. I don't know if I heard that.
Well,
A vote to approve the minutes. Who voted to approve it?
could I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Oh, second.
Okay, you're gonna approve it?
All in favor?
And.
I second.
Okay.
Yeah, on the warrant, is that a retainer on the second item on the warrant? Is that a retainer fee or service or services rendered?
Driscoll and Driscoll.
That was, actually, we got a bill that was passed 2 years ago, and we just got billed, so we had to pay it, so it was for previous things that we had, he had done for us,
No.
and we just got the bill, so.
Any questions on the warrant?
No.
No, there was no,
Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. We got a budget review?
It came in early this year. It seems like we just approved last year's budget in November, so the, what did you say, the guidelines came out early.
Thank you. Yes.
Just like in school.
Yeah, you got an extra?
Yeah, there's an extra one right here.
For a year.
Okay, my name is, should I start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Christine Landry, I work for Benton E. Weldon Associates, and with Lynn and myself, we prepared this budget for fiscal year 2019, which will end, it started already in July 1st, the budget guidelines don't come out always on time to do it beforehand, but this is for fiscal year ended 2019, so it started. In the budget guidelines this year, there were a couple of items that are of interest to us. One is that the budget received a 4% increase in what's called the cap, is the, all the expenses that are not utilities, basically. All the regular operating expenses received a 4% increase, so we get to increase our expenses by 4% overall. That's our budget. And also, we have to have an audit as usual every year, and that fee schedule has been adjusted downward for our, it's anything under 50 units is now only, is like $450 less. So that was nice. And that really is the only thing that will affect us so far, unless I see something else that pops out in the meantime. So the first page is the 4,001. This is the budget. The first column is what the actuals were, the fiscal year 18 actuals, is where we came in last year. This is the last year's approved budget that relates to that year's expenses. And then the next column is the fiscal year 19 budget, which is what we expect the expenditures to be this year. And then these are the changes that took place. Administrative salaries went up a little bit for the 4% increase, and also we decided to give the administrative staff an extra $1. This 4% wasn't very much.
That's for the assistant, only because she's been working here for 3 years and
Right.
without anything, so.
So, however, the executive director's salary stays the same. Her salary contract is already in place, and it was for a 3-year period, I believe, or a 2-year period. That will not change. So, that's what that line item for the administrative salaries, that's what that increase comprises of. Accounting fees went up 3.5%. Audit costs, like I said, I'm sorry, it went up, it went up 180, excuse me, the audit costs. And administrative other, what that $10,000 represents is actually 2 items. The first one has to do with a legal settlement that DHCD has approved and agreed to pay. So even though the legal settlement is in our line item, it will be funded by the state. Okay, that was for $7,500, but $6,500 goes to this line item, another $1,000 goes to a different line item, insurance.
$1,000 is
The $1,000.
deductible, right?
Yes, that's our
Okay,
deductible.
okay.
Yes. And then the other item is, there's a new government accounting pronouncement, which I won't get into the details of too much, but it's a new pronouncement. It requires an actuarial calculation for, benefits that will be paid to employees, full-time employees, who, not including retirement, so it would be group insurance, basically. So the group insurance, what they do is they project out the life of the person, and they do a calculation of the benefits that will be paid out to them over their lifetime. And that's gonna cost $2,900 for 2 years.
And we've already done that.
We've already done it. Good. So, but that has to be accounted for in our budget. So those 2 items, the 6,500 and the 2,900, are basically what comprises the increase in administrative other costs. And then if you look, you'll notice labor is based on the actual, we actually have a schedule for that in here. On page 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see that what comprises the maintenance mechanic. And basically, I increased the overtime budget by $500 just in case for snow removal and whatever else might come up. And otherwise, it's based on the Department of Labor and Industry rates, which is actually in the new, which I think is the work labor rate anyway for mechanics. We have no control over that. That is what is mandated by the state.
Yes.
Okay. I increased materials by a little bit, because our budget last year was only 9,500, and we spent almost 13,000 on materials. So I mean, I don't know where we'll fall, but I put, extra 1,500 in the materials. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is just as is.
On the insurance,
Sure.
oh, good, okay, so I just want, all right, I just want to make sure the car insurance was in there, but I thought it was only 934, but I see it went up by 934.
Yes, it went up by 954, so you want to make sure that the car insurance, I have that right here.
It should, I mean, you should have what you did last year.
I know for the new vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Which one? It went up a little bit.
What's the
So,
employee and benefits in parentheses for?
the other, hold on one second, and I'll get to that question, thank you.
Okay.
I put the new truck as $1,450.
Okay.
The extra $1,000 or $900 is really comprised of that legal settlement. That's
Okay.
the portion that goes to our deductible
Okay,
for insurance,
all right,
and that's really what's making up that
difference,
increase.
okay.
And as to the, and I'm sorry, what was your question?
The employee benefits,
The employee benefits, what changed?
was it a line item change?
There was a line item change.
In parentheses.
Yes, the retiree benefits is, went up. So the group insurance, went up by about $1,500. They revamped their system, and I just put in a little cushion, actually it went down, excuse me, went down a little bit. We had overestimated how much it was gonna be last year, so it's really a budget-to-budget issue. When we had done the budget last year, we weren't sure. I think Mike had gone on the family plan,
Yes,
right?
no,
I'm not a fan of that.
Or whatever,
no, you got off of it,
off of it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was.
so you're off of it.
So for that, that was the reason.
It's my fault.
Your phone, okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I've been doing so many budgets lately, I have to keep them all straight. Anyway, so it was the group insurance
Okay.
adjustment. Any other questions on that part? So basically, we, after all is said and done, we have a little bit of non-routine costs that is actually, again, a lot of it is, there was a biohazard issue this year. We had a death by one of the tenants, and the cost of that cleanup, it was a tragic accident, and the cost of the cleanup is $6,400, but the state is gonna pay for that as well. So,
Oh, that's great.
it's, the cost is in here, but it comes back out as subsidy during the year. So we put in, there's a couple of exemptions, one for the legal and one for the biohazard. Okay,
That's good.
so if you go to the very last page of the packet, that's where the biohazard, you'll see it's $6,400. $6,435, and then we have a few other items, the appliances and maintenance equipment. Just budgeted, just in case they come up during the year. So when all is said and done, we expect to make income of about $1,500 on the 4,001. Our reserves right now are at about 70%, and they'll stay at about 71%, which is excellent. The state would like it to be about at least 40%. 35 to 40% now this year. Any questions?
I have none.
I
So
make
that's-
motion we accept it.
Oh, it's not, we still have a lot to go over.
We have one more to
We have
go.
one more, yeah.
Thank you, though, I appreciate that.
Yes, actually,
So the next,
Garfield Street.
the next page is the 689 budget.
Yeah, no, it's, we separated.
We have to separate the two.
Garfield.
The two different projects. So basically, the line item changes will mirror, with the exception of those large items, those large ticket items, the legal settlement, the biohazard cleanup. You'll see that this administrative other, the $212 is really a function of the, that's the audit cost portion, the 2,900, and it's just minor adjustments. And basically expect a break even. It's a $239 shortfall, but that's a budget. That's, if we need it, we have it. We didn't spend all our materials last year. You can see we only spent $375 in materials. We had, last year we had a budget of $1,500, so we may not spend it all. So this, it's really a break-even budget, even though it says a shortfall, but we have the reserves to absorb it. We have a reserve level of 55,000 in our, which equates to a reserve level of 437%, which is excellent. You know. I don't expect any major, any major expenditures on the 689, but there is one, we have a little bit to absorb it. We have $50,000, $55,000 should we need it. Hot water heater or whatever, boiler kind of issue. And then I'll just go over quickly. That's the 689. Are there any questions on the 689? Okay.
No,
Then you just need to be aware of the salaries that are spent, so that's the next page. We already went over them, but I just want to make sure that you see it outlined. Because, as you can see, Lynn's salary did not change. The 37,693 is the same as it was last year. It didn't change. The state came out with a new calculation last year, I don't know if you recall, and it's for a 3-year period. So her salary will stay above this for the next year as well. Okay? Same with the maintenance, you'll see that as well. You need to be aware of what Mike earns. And that's it. We already know the numbers we need. Any questions?
no, it's all good.
Can I explain too? So with our new AUP audit from DHCD, we have so long, if any of this changes, so far it seems like we're staying right within these numbers. But if something changes or something comes up where we have a few refrigerators break or stoves and we have to, put that in the budget, then we do have until the, what is it,
It's the first day of the 11th month.
the first day of the 11th month to revise the budget. So if we do, now they have a new rule where they want us to come within 10% higher or 10% lower of our projected figure. If we come higher, then we have to send a report why. But if we realize that we can redo the budget on the 11th month, then we can go ahead and redo the budget, and it just makes it easier for our report, for our audit when it happens.
Right. So at the third quarter, which will be next March, we're gonna look at the numbers and see how we're doing, which we do anyway, but in terms of the budget to actuals, we will do a revision to make sure that we've accounted for, that the state is aware of everything that we've expended and what we project for the year.
We're usually pretty good, but sometimes
Yeah.
if it's a warm winter and we don't spend as much on gas and we're under, we still have, that does show up on our audit. So we just kind of want to always fall within that so we do have the opportunity to change it. And that's new, right? That's just something that,
It's with the PMRs,
the audit,
the audits for the executive directors and the authority.
yeah.
That 10% variance, they want to be aware
Mhm.
of what's going on. That's the idea.
Yeah.
And make sure if there's any major fluctuations that we adjust the budget accordingly, which we will do. So even though we're voting on the budget today, know that down the road,
You can go
we may,
back.
yes, you may see it again.
Hoping we can stay within the guidelines.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, even if we have a warm winter, which they are predicting a warm winter, last year was really cold, if it's under, then we just want to make it right. That way, our AUP comes out.
That's right.
Exactly, so.
Exactly.
Is that it? Okay, could I have a motion to accept?
I make a motion, we accept it.
Second,
All in
second
favor?
motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, we do have the director's report.
We do.
Hold on 1 second, I'm just gonna give you these pages to sign.
I just have to read that.
You can just, it's a motion, you already made the motion, so
Yes.
you'll just have to,
Sign.
oh, you have to do both separately.
Okay, thought so, yeah.
So we did the 4,001, now you need to make a motion for the 689.
Okay.
Could I have a motion, please?
I make a motion.
Thank you.
689.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Passes.
so now we have, the chairman signs on the first line, and the others sign below the chairman. How about this way?
First one. Under here, right?
Sure, yes. The second one. Thank you. Awesome. I guess you can continue and then we'll just,
Okay.
we can sign it.
Do you want to start with the director's report, or?
Sure, okay.
You give,
Who wrote this one?
I give it to you after.
Come on.
Okay.
If you,
I can move that way, yeah, we
if
need,
you want,
yeah.
if you want undivided attention, well,
All
wait.
right, yeah, I'll wait. I'm taking my turn. Hope we don't spill on it.
You need to sign the first.
Yes.
and last one.
Great. I'm just gonna ask. Thank you very much.
this for you. It's just.
Yes.
I'll sign it.
What's that?
I'm not gonna take the one.
Sorry about that, I didn't do it right.
That's okay.
Twelve twenty-four.
Yeah, 1024, yeah.
These phones there, so I'm just.
Yes, I know. If you ever have any questions on anything, feel free to call
Oh, yeah.
or contact me.
All right.
All right.
Now I can do the director's report. The first order of business I have is to approve the lowest bidder for the electrical box work outside the switchgear box replacement. The box was completed, they're ready to put it in. We did send out some bids for an electrician, and the lowest bid that came in was from Fellows Electric Systems of Mattapoisett. Their quote, the only quote that came in was $5,800, which was approximately 25% lower than the engineer's cost. The engineer came in at $7,400. They bid at $5,800. They have our regional team has reviewed the quote from Fellows Electric and find it to be in order. So I asked the board that we can go ahead and vote to hire Fellows Electric Systems for $5,800 to do the work on the box. We have a kickoff meeting tomorrow at 2:30, and hopefully the work will be done within the 30 days. We are going to work with them to find a warmer day that we can go ahead and shut everybody's electric off. We will notify everybody in advance to let them know this is happening. That way they can either go, to their family's house, or they can go to the council on aging. But I'm going to also give them a call to see if we can work with them. It's going to be probably out from 7 to 3. Hoping to have it done sooner. I just can't give an exact time because I'm not sure what the work's going to be once the box gets here. So
Hopefully they can do it in a day.
they definitely feel that they can
Well,
do it in one
it's
day.
gotta be done, it has to be done in one day, so.
It has to be done. And the box was really impressive, the one that we did, they did send us pictures. It's really nice, it's got heat in it, it's got an alarm, so if the heat does go out again, the alarm will go off. And what is it made out of? It's made out of,
It's powder coated, aluminum, I think it's aluminum.
yeah, so they expect it to last a long time.
What's that amount, yeah?
The amount for the electrical work is $5,800.
Okay, so we need a motion, right?
Yeah, I guess so, 5,800. I'll say a motion, yes.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion to hire Fellows Road Systems.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. He was the only bidder?
What's that?
He was the only bidder?
Yeah, we sent it out to a couple people, we sent it out to more than 3 people, and that was the only one that came back. That's been happening quite a lot lately. I know a lot of people are really busy right
Well,
now.
actually, Greg sent it out from Acushnet.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
cat did it for us, so
Oh,
our
okay.
cat's been doing a lot of our stuff, which has been such a help for us for procurement, so. And everything comes back in a nice binder, and you just file it away, and everything is in order by exactly how it was done, so.
And What state are they in? This outfit? What state?
The one that made the box or the one that,
No, the ones that's gonna put it in.
Mattapoisett, they're out of Mattapoisett,
Mattapoisett?
Massachusetts. Yes, yep. I also need a vote from the board to approve the office staff to receive pay for what they call champ entry. Over the last couple of months, all the housing authorities took their books, some were in paper, some were on Excel, so everybody did their waiting list different. We had a book. We had to take all of our people out of the book and enter each one separately into what they call a champ system. Come January, there's going to be a whole new system on how people can apply for state housing. It's a great system. We've taken the class. They can go online, they can apply, they have their own number, they can pick. Instead of filling out an application for every housing authority in the area, they can go online, they can fill out an application, and they can actually put in what housing authorities they would like to live in. One good thing about this is every day we get housing applications from families where we have no family units, so we have to notify them that we have no family units. So anybody that's applying for family, our housing authority won't even come up on the list because we can't house them, we only have 1-bedroom units. So it's really good for the person applying, it's good for the housing authority. Also, the one good thing about it is they're notified that they have to go and check in and keep up with their list. If they don't go in 2 years, they automatically come off the list. We don't do that. It's all operated by the state in one big system. So Julie and I spent probably about, I don't even know how many hours we put in, quite a few hours. There's a limit of how much we can get and how much by the app. So it's not something that we could have said took us 50 hours. We get paid by the amount of apps that we did enter into the system. We just need a board vote to allow us to receive the finance, the pay for go ahead and entering it all into the system.
Where does the money come from?
It's coming from our budget.
No.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh, okay.
You just submit it to the state and they'll pay it.
Oh, okay, it's from the state. I thought it was ours, but it had to be approved by the board.
It might have to be approved by the board,
Yeah.
but it's.
Well, that's even better.
Yes.
That's exactly good.
Yeah, but it's paid, they came down to the science on how many applicants you have and how long it takes to put one person into that exact entry. So they know exactly, how much we're going to be allowed to get paid. It did take us a little longer. We did submit that into the system because there was a lot of applications in there that needed to be cleaned out that were very old. So we actually took a little bit of time and called people, contacted people, and it was very nice because it gave us a new update on all of our lists, and they were all entered into the computer.
So how should this motion be set up?
So I guess I'm just asking for the board to make a motion for the administrative staff to receive pay for champ entry.
Could I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Second?
Hey, all you get.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Jim.
Okay. It's a great system, I hope it works out.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna give you a quick recap of our AEP audit. DHCD did come down, we did only have one issue with the budget, but it was something that we were able to explain, and they agreed that it was actually something good to do, which was our maintenance equipment. It was a little high, and we just had to come up with the explanation, and the explanation was, we had a local store that was going out of business. Every time we do a turnover, Mike goes in and rents a floor sander, and it's almost inexpensive, over $100. We rented it how many times in the past? So this year we had 7 turnovers, and we decided we had our eye on it, and when it went down to the lowest amount, we went and bought the sander. I think we've already used it, how many
We've
times?
used it a couple times already.
Yeah, so if we've used it 3 times, it's already $300 that's come off. So it was a really good purchase for us, seeing that we do have all hardwood floors, and every time somebody moves out, not every single time, but we usually go in, sand down the floors, and repoly them. So it was just a good savings, and we were able to explain that to DHCD with no problem. They actually, the maintenance person that came down to do the AAP said that was actually smart. So we didn't plan it in our budget. We didn't know the store was going out of business. It was just, it was just a good purchase. So that's exactly what we did.
Mhm.
That's good.
Also, they did a walk around apartments. We only had one small little finding, and it had nothing to do with us. It was something that a tenant had put the batteries in instead of call maintenance, in a smoke alarm, and they couldn't get it back in, so they had zip tied it. And of course, that was true, that came out, but we were able to go and we replaced the smoke detector within an hour and we fixed it. But it wasn't anything that we did, it was just something that we couldn't prevent. So. And that was it, everything else looked really well. We are getting another audit, which is our big audit, that's gonna be in December. So that's the audit on the books and everything else, and we don't feel there's gonna be a problem with that. We're gonna be sitting down with them and going over that in December. Next item is to write up all old rents. Every year, I don't know if you want to explain, like it does affect us if we don't write off rents that have been sitting there. It doesn't look good for our, would you say, like our,
For the tenancy accounts receivable balance, you
Yeah.
want it to be as low as possible. You want it to be accurate.
so we've had a balance that's been sitting on there for a couple of years, and I'm just gonna ask the board, if they can write off a $1,456 rent charge. We tried collecting it, we didn't, I don't know if we can collect it, but it will always be there and they can possibly pay it back, but I would just like the board to write it off of our books, so that way it's not showing up as it's still owed.
Have a motion?
Do a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The sidewalks. I am really proud to finally say after 3 years that the sidewalk project will be starting on Friday. We did notify all the tenants yesterday that we are going to bring all the barrels up to the front, and we asked them if they could just cooperate with us and not use the backs of the house until it's complete. We did also notify them that some of their cars might have to be moved, and there's going to be heavy equipment on the property. We asked them just to be aware of their surroundings when there's big machinery and trucks with asphalt driving around. So we're hoping, weather permitting, that the job will be done between 2 to 3 weeks. So starting Friday, weather permitting, they should be here. It looks nice Friday, and Saturday's going to be really bad, so I'm not sure if they're going to want to start it Friday knowing how hard it's going to rain Saturday. So I guess we'll get that all figured out. But the sidewalks are in, we had the kickoff meeting and we're ready to go. They have 30 days technically to do it. So, but they I think everybody just wants to come in and get it done.
Said the
Demello, yep.
Dino.
So if you've walked around or when you first came in, you can notice that there are certain areas in the front that are all marked off. This particular ramp was included in the project. A lot of the ramps now have to be cement and not asphalt, so this particular ramp is going to be ripped out.
It's gonna be asphalt.
Oh, it's gonna be, I thought it was gonna be cement.
No, they're gonna go with asphalt.
Oh, okay.
They're
I
doing all thing
misunderstood that, 'cause he
asphalt.
told me
Well,
it was
it's
gonna be
cheaper
cement.
there than
Yeah, we
asphalt
talked
and
about it up
cement.
there.
Don't
As far as I know,
think
it's
cement
asphalt.
will be
Oh,
better,
okay.
because the back was asphalt.
It is asphalt, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that this
And
one ramp is gonna be
the
cement, because
trees
if you
roll
walk down, we
roots,
talked
they
about
just
it.
push up the asphalt. Whereas if you use cement, I mean, it'll crack maybe the cement, but it's not gonna jack the cement up. That's why we.
Well, we couldn't pick it, we actually had an engineer come in,
Yeah.
so
Oh.
all the bid was, picked, approved, and done by the engineer. So I'm thinking it's gonna be concrete, but I guess whatever he asked for is going to be there, we'll see come the next week or two. But if you also walk around in front of a lot of the buildings, and especially in front of buildings 7 and 8, we took the trees down, but before we took the trees down, the roots had buckled up the sidewalks. All of that is gonna be cut out, all of those are gonna be replaced. So they walked around and basically picked out all the tripping hazards, and all those spots are gonna be replaced. They're also ripping up the sidewalk on Garfield Street, I think it's 66 feet.
Yeah, the back
And
of
they're
it,
gonna replace the rear sidewalk also because of, tree roots, had buckled the sidewalk, so that's also gonna be done. So that's what we're looking at for all the work.
Well, that's good. Thank you.
Yep. our vacancies, we currently have one vacancy, we did take it offline. I believe that that was the last person who actually smoked in the development, so we did take it offline, which means it gives us more time to do it, because we had to have an an electrician come in, pull out all the plugs, and we have to have the walls specially treated because of the smoke that was on the walls, on new fans. So this project is going to take a little bit longer, so it is offline, and they are giving us 3 months to do it, so.
It was real bad.
Oh, yeah.
It was my neighbor, it was smoke.
Okay, yeah, so that's all I have for, the director's report.
Okay. Any questions for the director? Could I have a motion to approve the director's report?
I'll make a motion that we approve of the director's review.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
And we have no tenants, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Could we have a maintenance report, please?
Sure. Lynn more or less said a lot that we've been going on with the electric panel, the sidewalks and that. With the inspections, I have about 90% of the work orders done. I have just 2 big things to do, and I just gotta set that up with the tenants, and, you know, we can get that done. One good thing, when the auditors were walking by, we inspected 2 apartments, and, you know, he said, this is pretty boring. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, everything looks pretty good. So, yeah, it was a compliment to, you know, the board and everybody else, for, you know, letting us do our job without micromanaging us. So that's a good thing. But besides the normal maintenance, and here in Garfield Street, everything seems to be pretty good, so that's about it.
I have to agree with Mike. I think after last year, having the first AUP, and we talked to DHCD about this, it was really nice for us, so everybody could be on the same page. Last year, we had a few more things that we weren't aware of. We came in, he took over for somebody else, we thought we were doing all the right things. Now that they have this AUP, they really get strong on exactly what needs to be done. And because of last year's doing all the inspections this year, we were able to take everything that they did, and we were able to go through it like they did, so we knew exactly if there was a towel, it needed to be replaced, or if there was a toilet that was loose, that needed to be fixed. So our inspections this year were a little bit more involved, just because we knew exactly what to look for. So the one good thing about the AUP audit is it does get everybody on the same page, and I agree with the CHAMP program. Everybody's gonna be doing the same exact thing, and, you know, you're not gonna hear, well, I don't do that in my housing authority. So it just pushes everybody, so.
I have a question.
Okay.
How are we coming along with the covering of the brick with plastic
The barn side, that's pushed out until next year.
next year?
Right now, they're just working on the alarms and the emergency lighting. We did have a gentleman come out, we're still working on we haven't heard anything, but we do have some emails to see what's going on with that project.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions for the maintenance person?
No.
No questions, could I have a motion to approve the maintenance report?
I make a motion to approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do we have a date for the next meeting?
Yes, we're gonna do it on November 28th rather than the 21st. So Wednesday, the 28th of November.
We're gonna push it the week after Thanksgiving weekend.
That sounds good. Okay, any other business? If not, I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.